presentation of the Oregon Sports Network.
And Oregon is going to play in the national championship game.
Welcome to Duck Insider.
Man, it feels great to be a Duck.
Give it to me, baby. My house. I'm taking it there.
Their competitors, they'll want to put the O on.
Three, got it!
We're going to compete to a standard every day.
The Oregon standard.
Rebound. That's been in. 1 point more to go.
The opportunity to play, put Oregon on your chest, should mean a great deal to you.
Unloads on one into left field, back toward the wall. Gone!
This program is staged to compete and to win championships.
Oregon wins!
This is Duck Insider on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield, presented by On Point Community Credit Union. Better banking, local solutions. Live from the Country Financial Studio, let's talk Oregon athletics.
It is Athletic Director Tuesday on the program. Oregon Athletic Director Rob Mullens here with us. Hey, thanks for always taking the time. We schedule these about a year in advance. I'm not even exaggerating. Usually on like a day in July, I'll be coming out of my summer hibernation, as I'm sure you do a little bit too.
A little bit, yeah.
So we'll come out of that, and then it'll be like, okay, about every 4 or 5 weeks, the Rob Mullens dates get set, because otherwise I never get on your calendar.
No, there's a lot going on these
That's
days, especially when you get into that window where you've got winter sports down the stretch and spring sports opening up. Football recruiting, there's a lot happening.
Yeah, it's a fun time of year, though. I talk about this a lot, that this is a really engaging time of year because there are sports that are coming to a close and the sports with the optimism at the beginning of every season. So we're going to talk about all of that. Tip-off Tuesday today. We've got Armand Gates, Kelly Graves, and then our featured student athlete is Taya Hansen on the Oregon Basketball Coaches Show this afternoon. Taya's going to take my job someday, without a doubt. If she wants it, it's hers.
Right. No, she's outstanding, obviously. She's got a nice-looking shot, too.
She does. No kidding. So the Ducks, for both the men and the women, taking on the Washington schools on the road this week, so we'll tell you more about that. Melyssa Lombardi, Oregon softball head coach, talk about a season that is underway. Coach Lombardi actually sat down with us this morning. They're over at practice at the Jane right now if you're live with us in the 1 o'clock hour. We'll talk with Coach Lombardi about opening weekend going 3-2, and then some honors and announcements to tell you about an addition to the Oregon football coaching staff. Stick with us. We're going to talk all about that. Oh, today, by the way, in the latest bracketology, Joe Lunardi from ESPN has the Ducks as one of the first 4 out if the tournament started today, along with USC, Kentucky, and Wisconsin. So certainly an opportunity missed against UCLA, but you're in the conversation. That's where you want to be, particularly after an up-and-down season with injuries.
No doubt. And obviously, we're getting back into the rhythm with everybody healthy. And we saw what we can do in that first half of that UCLA game. And just hit a stretch where we had some difficulty scoring there in the second half. But, like you said, finish strong, get to Vegas, and see what we can do. And, this team can be very dangerous if we can get there.
Yeah.
We just need to get there. And then, we've seen that before, right? We were a 12 seed several years ago in San Jose. I think it was San Jose.
It was, yeah.
I know we were playing a 5 seed. I think it might have been St. Louis or Oklahoma State. And I remember the coach of the 5 seed was really upset that they drew the Ducks because we were hot.
Right. And a little bit more of a local team to San Jose. I remember that. That was Wisconsin and UC Irvine.
Right.
Was that matchup. And then Oregon ended up losing by 4 points to the eventual national champion Virginia that year in the Sweet 16 in Louisville.
Yeah, Louisville, that's right. Anything can happen, obviously. We've seen what we can do when you put it all together. And, again, we battled injuries the first part of the year. And then you got to, people have to get back into basketball shape, and they got to get used to playing together and figure out the rotation. And then it all comes together.
Takes a little time. So I got a question for you. You're one of the smartest guys I know. Can you do a Rubik's Cube?
No.
Dang. So I got a serious question. You know Coach Altman very well.
Yes.
Well, you know the phrase, right? He always aligns Rubik's Cubes. Right. So I also cannot do a Rubik's Cube. Do you think in our next interview on Tip-Off Tuesday when Coach Altman is on, if I handed him a Rubik's Cube, he'd be able to do it?
It wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me either. It's really amazing, isn't it?
It is amazing.
Yeah. I have this Rubik's Cube. It's assembled so that I look like I know what I'm doing. I bought it this way. But I'm just waiting for the right opportunity to hand it to Coach Altman and be like, you know the phrase, right? Like, can you align our Rubik's Cube? And he probably will look at me with a look that I won't want to repeat ever again, but it might be worth it.
Maybe.
It might be worth it.
Here we go.
What do you think? Should we try?
Good luck.
Yeah, okay. Rob Mullens is with us. But, basketball season, though, it is such a fun overlap, and we talk about this every year. But, the NCAA tournament, there's just nothing like it. That's why it's so sought after to make it.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, those 3 weeks are really incredible, and the way that it gets covered by the TV partners and, just the experience of, lose and go home. And, it is pretty special.
Meanwhile, for the women's team, we talk about a team that's been through it, too, with some injuries, players banged up. Needed to bounce back on the road this weekend.
Yeah, and obviously that's going to be a tough assignment. You got 2 tough road games. Both teams have had recently, good wins. Yeah. So, and that team is in every single game. They just need to close one of them out with that young team to see how they can do it, and then I think it'll take off from there.
It's so true. I was talking actually with Coach Altman about that and Coach Gates about that on the men's side, they won a close game on the road at Arizona State, and just what that experience could mean moving forward.
Sure. No, especially with a young team, that's exactly what you need is to just clinch one of those and get the confidence going, and it builds from there.
I want to talk about a number of different things because we have the overlap, so we'll move away from basketball right now. Just not that long ago, 14 days ago, happy Valentine's Day, by the way.
Oh, yeah, here we go.
So if anybody, this is your public service announcement. It's February 14th.
Get on it.
Listening. Yeah, now you have your reminder. Review some National Signing Day events for us because it's changed. I've been talking about that on the show, that you don't want to do the big events because the class isn't complete until February, but certainly a different energy. It's really like a celebration of Oregon football.
Yeah, we did 2 of them. One of them in Portland up at the Tiger Woods Center up on the Nike campus. Phenomenal event. Our DAF staff, Justin Fisher, Lexi Cross, Matt Broders, and others worked with Michael Doherty. And Michael's, just exceptional creative mind, and they created a Saturday Night Live parody, which was just a lot of fun. We had an incredible group of former players come back and engage, a great crowd. The whole team was there because they had spent a day at Nike on some educational elements. And it was just it was a super energetic event, and Michael just put together a phenomenal show.
Yeah, I wanted to ask you, Rob, because we talk so much about the student-athlete experience. Like, the Nike connection, we could spend hours talking about that. But just that one event, if you could. Like, how special is that for the team?
It's special. The team had a chance to go up there and learn about, the process to get hired at Nike. Yeah. And then also we're able to spend an hour with Tinker Hatfield just, learning about his path and, all the great things that he's done. And then to be able to interact with our fan base and our donors and engage and then, be a part of the show was really, really a full day. And one that is unique to Oregon, and at least from the feedback that I've received from a handful of players, they really appreciated it.
That's great. And also a home schedule. We're already talking about that, aren't we?
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's amazing how fast it comes. You're already starting to plan for football? I mean, how's that work for you?
Yeah, no, I mean, we're in the throes of it now, but we do start to plan. Obviously, there's a lot of big events that come off of the football schedule. Homecoming, we work our Hall of Fame induction in and around it. So yeah, there's a lot that goes into the planning that you have to get way on the front end of.
Athletic Director Rob Mullens joining us. So talking big picture, I have not yet spoken with you since the announcement that the Go Do Anything campaign surpassed a $15 million mark. And we had Lexi Cross on, so Lexi came on and we talked for about 20 minutes about the Go Do Anything campaign last Monday, if you're interested in more from the Director of Women in Flight. But just, it was amazing because she said that it started at 5, and then you challenged them, make it 9, then it gets to 15. I mean, Rob, just how amazing has this campaign been?
Well, I mean, even when you go back further to the beginning of Women in Flight, and the vision with the gift and the challenge from Dave and Nancy Petrone to build something unique, and to see the success of that and to see our peers around the country contact us or come visit us to learn about what we were doing, to see the grassroots effort of that and what we're able to give back to our female student athletes. And then, with the 50th anniversary of Title IX coming up, Lexi created a phenomenal campaign. We sat down as a team and said, what do we hope to accomplish? And that's when we got into the conversation about the goals, and then just engaging with folks. We're just so lucky to have such a passionate base who really care about broad-based excellence, about student-athlete experience, about competing for championships in every single sport. And then we had the celebration over at PK Park a couple of months ago. It was just, it was a phenomenal celebration and great energy. And to surpass the goal that we did is, a credit to Lexi, to the DAF team, and to all of our, incredible fans that really see the vision and the impact that this program is having.
Yeah, it's one thing just to say the number, right? It's a whole other thing then to think about the impact that it does have. And I know that Lexi's been putting together like a review of how is this going to be impactful, and that's so powerful.
So many different ways. We do a lot of team building activities. We provide them international experiences. There's just so many things that go in that come out of this program that are memorable moments and great learning experiences for our staff and student athletes. So, it has a long-lasting impact.
It just so happened that lacrosse head coach Chelsea Hoffman was in talking about it just a few days ago about how without women in flight, the foreign tour for lacrosse maybe isn't happening.
Right.
And those sorts of things. Like that's just fans like one example of how impactful it is. And Rob, it was funny. So one of our projects of late, to get into the nitty-gritty just a little bit, behind the curtain, if you will, that computer in the back has been in charge of archiving footage from like the last decade. We've been organizing, archiving. Well, one of the things, and I swear sometimes the stars just align, that I came across was the video package of the Women in Flight launch dinner.
Right.
And we happened to find that 3 weeks ago, and I just thought, man, what a cool thing to think about. Like, that wasn't really that long ago.
It wasn't that long ago, but what a great celebration that was. And it wasn't that long ago, and now look where we are.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. Rob Mullens joining us, Oregon Athletic Director. We're going to get a timeout, come back. We haven't talked about everything going on. We're going to do that. By the way, it's Husky Week, not just for men's basketball, but also for men's tennis. Nils Schielander,
Yes.
He has a passion for the Ducks and Dogs match every year that I don't know can be equaled.
I would agree with you on that.
Yeah.
There is quite the passion there, and when Niels gets going, you can feel it.
We're going to talk about that a little bit more coming up. Stick with us on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Dear winter, Toyota's got 20 vehicles with available all-wheel drive and four-wheel drive, and that's more than any other auto brand. So you bring the action, and we'll bring the traction. Always Toyota. Toyota, let's go places.
Based on manufacturer's websites as of 11/21/22.
Hey Duck fans, we're all about protecting our home turf here in Eugene. You should do the same for your home with Country Financial Insurance. Most home insurance doesn't account for inflation, but with Country Financial, yours can. If something happens to your home, make sure you can rebuild the same house in the same place. Call a local representative or 866-COUNTRY and get a solid defense for your home. Home insurance policies issued by Country Mutual Insurance Company, Country Casualty Insurance Company, or Country Preferred Insurance Company, Bloomington, Illinois. Property must meet age and condition requirements, which vary by state.
Dear winter, Toyota's got 20 vehicles with available all-wheel drive and four-wheel drive, and that's more than any other auto brand. So you bring the action, and we'll bring the traction. Always Toyota. Toyota, let's go places.
Based on manufacturer's websites as of 11/21/22.
Don't go anywhere. Duck Insider continues after these messages on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
The United States Deputy Sheriff's Association is a national nonprofit and the largest non-governmental provider of services to law enforcement. The USDSA assists city, county, state, and federal agencies with free safety equipment donations and officer survival training, along with cash donations to families of law enforcement officers who perish in the line of duty, college scholarships for the children of law enforcement, a citizen awareness program, and more. For more information on the USDSA and how you can help, visit usdeputy.org.
You're never completely ready to adopt a teen.
For late nights writing English papers.
Or your teen's music taste.
For dinners, where they talk more on their phone than with you.
For the first time, they call you mom.
You're never completely ready to adopt a teen, and you can't imagine the reward.
To learn more about adopting a teen, visit adoptuskids.org.
Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
Back in the Country Financial Studio, Duck Insider, presented by On Point Community Credit Union. Joey Mack's Athletic Director Tuesday. Rob Mullens is joining us. You know, Rob, I don't think I've asked you about these, but these posters, the game day posters, they've been a great addition to the studio for men's basketball. These have been a lot of fun.
Yeah, I think it's been fun to see the students get recognized. Yeah. And I think there's been some amazing work.
You know, you talk about the connection between like athletics and academics, and you and I did this in a little more big of a deep dive after the Holiday Bowl. But you know, this is just one example, right? Like it is a student connection.
Yeah, no, it is, and you know, obviously you can look at all the creativity that we have in and around our campus, and as you said, this is one example, and there's many others of collaborations between academics and athletics that are having success.
Yeah, it's been cool to watch, and I do want to tell everybody, because I've gotten a lot of requests now for, are you going to do it for more than just men's basketball? Can neither confirm nor deny, but let's just say we hear the feedback. Right? They've been a really cool endeavor. Let's talk about spring sports. Softball season upon us. You talk about a student-athlete experience. Got the chance to go down to Puerto Vallarta.
Yeah, go down and play 5 games against incredible competition right out of the bat. It looked like the weather was good. And, so they're off and it's hard to believe. We're 5 games into the softball season. And it's February 14th.
Well, the reason I want to start with softball is just to piggyback off the Go To Anything campaign. You and I were just talking about this during the break, that Jane Sanders Stadium, it really wasn't that long ago. And now we think about the Jane as just this, like, cathedral of softball, and it's such a home field advantage.
Huge home field advantage, and what a fun project it was. Obviously, the Sanders family given this tremendous gift to do something that was long in the making. Right, we needed a softball stadium, and then Herb Yamanaka just taking the point of that because of his stewardship with the Sanders family and relationship. Herb went to that project site every single day, and he's got the notebooks to show it of photos. And what a great location for the stadium, and the support facilities for student athletes. But when that place is packed, it's an incredible experience.
I had friends that lived in the free seats, if you will.
That was pretty fun.
Yeah, across the way, and that's just been, I love the fact that there are those campus connections, because it is unique. Like I've talked about this before, that there is a literal geographic divide between some of the athletic facilities and the campus. So it's nice to have those connections.
No, it is, and when the rooftop of the Pre gets going, or the balconies get lit up with signs, or it is kind of fun, and then you see the traffic and. If one of our student athletes hits a really high long ball, we might have to warn some people on the tennis court.
That's right. Yeah, a good problem to have.
Good problem to have.
Good problem to have. Baseball coming up. And so one of the things that I wanted to hit on with you, both with baseball and softball, is there's a lot of, let's talk about student-athlete experience, the events that go on leading into a season. Diamond Dinner for Oregon softball, and then a first pitch banquet for Oregon baseball. First time that program's ever done that happened this weekend.
Yeah, no, softball had a great event, and they have been doing that. And again, it's just bringing that softball community together. As we get ready to launch a season, and then baseball piggybacked on that and did a first pitch dinner. First one ever this weekend, and had an incredible crowd, incredible lineup. Some former greats back, and we had that pause in baseball, so there's a long stretch. But to have those, former greats back, and then some of the modern era, from David Peterson, Tyler Anderson, Scott McGuff, Jake Reed, and so many other student athletes back. It was so much fun to get all the people that love the sport of baseball and love Oregon baseball together in one room. It was a blast.
For any sport, I love those events because they're sort of like the fishing line that pulls people back to the program.
Yes.
And that's what I love about it.
Yeah, I thought Waz did a phenomenal job of explaining. I forget the exact numbers, but we have these two eras, but we need to merge them, because I think for people the ages from 37 to 62, we don't have any lettermen in that sport in that age range, because we didn't have baseball for that time. But we need to bring everybody together, and all the credit to Waz for the heavy lift that he did in his vision for the event, execution, and making it an incredible show, and it was a lot of fun.
I'm glad you said that, because I had a lot of conversations with Waz about the event heading up to it, just about a lot of things, honestly, and I give him so much credit for doing that because it's great to see it.
Yeah, I bump into him in the building out at practice. It just seemed like he was always on the phone, just trying to make sure that the inaugural one was a success, and it was a huge success.
Yeah. And one of the things that's cool for me, like you talk about the modern era, if you will, now seeing all the pro ducks that have made it to the major league level, and seeing those guys and recognizing just the same things you see in every sport, but now seeing it realized in baseball, it does take time.
It does, and to be able to have those student athletes back and hear them talk and reflect upon their time here and how it prepared them, for the next step is always rewarding, right? I was speaking at Steve Mims' class last night of aspiring journalists. And everybody always wants to know, favorite moments, and they assume it's big events. But it really is things like that when you can say, and it's not just for professional athletes, but when you connect with former student athletes who, articulate what it meant, their time here meant to them and how it's propelled them. That's why we do this.
Well, now I got to ask you, what did the students ask you in Steve's class? I mean, do I need to take some notes here, Rob?
Oh, it was all headline driven. So whatever's been in the headlines, they were on it. And
that
it was
makes
great.
sense.
It was a great group. Yeah, it was fun. It's always fun to connect with students.
Yeah, that's cool. I had the opportunity to speak in Steve's class last week, and I'll be honest, they asked some heavy hitters, and
they came out of the gate strong.
I can only imagine. Rob Mullens joining us. A couple final thoughts. Baseball opening day, 3:00 on Friday.
Here we go. The park's ready. The team is ready, and we're excited. And it's great to be able to start the season at home.
Yeah, that's truly. You're right. I'm excited to be there on Friday. Jordan will have the call on Saturday and Sunday because I'm heading up to Pullman with Oregon basketball with this weird Wednesday and Sunday. So hopefully that the weird schedule doesn't impact things. I'll just put it that way for Duck basketball. Lacrosse season also getting rolling. They started against Xavier, ironically.
Oh, yeah, phenomenal. 17-6 win, a lot of offense back this weekend. So encourage everybody to get out to Pape Field and check out. There's a lot of offense. I've heard. I was at the baseball banquet that we talked about earlier, but behind the back shot this weekend.
Yep.
So really excited, and as we've always said, if we fill a venue, it makes a big difference.
Yeah, no doubt about that. Track and field, they were in 3 different places this past weekend.
Yeah, it seems like several weekends they've just been split up.
Yeah, but first year for Coach Schumacher and still settling in.
Still settling in, doing a great job. NCAA record, indoor record set this weekend.
It's amazing.
Amazing. They had to make a little adjustment to practice this morning because there was some snow out there.
Yeah.
Jerry's doing a phenomenal job. He's put together an outstanding staff, and really, really love what they're doing, what they're building.
Man, I want to follow up with you on the staff because when we talked with Coach Schumacher on the show, that was like the first thing that he said. Like I'm here, asking him about himself and doing what I do, and he just kept deferring to, well, it's the staff, it's the people, it's the staff, it's the people. That's got to be one of the things you love about him.
Yeah, absolutely. From the time you meet him, he's so humble. Obviously, you can look at the list of accomplishments. And just the fact that, the staff that have worked with him a long time, former athletes of his that work for him, you can talk to the pros. He's just outstanding, as many of our coaches are, at assembling the right kind of people that reflect the values in that student-athlete experience and connection that we all need.
I alluded to this earlier, but Washington is in town for Oregon men's tennis. 5 o'clock, Nils Schielander maybe broke some news actually on Duck Insider yesterday saying that the Harley was going to be in attendance. So be ready for that. 5 o'clock on Friday. So I've requested that Oregon baseball win in about 2 hours so that I can get over to the Student Tennis Center to see. Because Ducks and Dogs is always fun. Neil Schielander makes it really fun. And don't look now, but men's tennis is off to a great start this season.
Off to a great start. Yeah, off to a great start. Nils does a phenomenal job. And with Matt Hogan on the Harley, who knows?
I know.
It could be crazy at the tennis center.
Yeah, so if anybody is curious about with Doug Koke, who's done it for so long, when you heard the Harley in like the press box coming down the tunnel, that was when Matt Hogan was on at the end of the season. So just to give you an idea. Women's tennis, too, off to a good start.
Yeah, great start. Courtney's done a phenomenal job. And again, these programs, we've played tough schedules.
Yeah.
because in that sport you've got to get your RPI the right way to get in, and both are off to a great start. Really, really proud of what they're doing.
Women's golf is playing right now. More updates on that coming as Ashley Park is continuing to be.
Well, right before I came in, they had the low round of the day and had moved up to second place.
Yeah, they're ridiculously good.
Yeah,
and how big of a deal is it for? We had Coach Radley on last week, but the Palmer Cup, being the head coach for Team USA,
big honor.
Oh man,
big honor. When you think back over the last 12 months. What we've been able to experience with Pac-12, NCAA championship match, coach being named the coach for the Palmer Cup, the events that they've been invited to based on last year's performance. Again, it kind of goes back to that experience. They're having a phenomenal experience.
Yeah, and I've requested that the baseball postseason always be right where men's and women's golf's nationals are, because that worked out well for all of us.
It did. It really, really did. That was a lot of fun.
All in Arizona, getting a chance to walk the course. And men's golf there, too, and they're off and running. Casey Martin just always consistent.
Yeah, I felt bad for him. They go to Hawaii in a couple of days,
get canceled.
Get canceled because of wind. But yeah, Casey does a phenomenal job, and he's put our program as one of the best in the country.
I got to ask you about the Jake. So phenomenal, breaking ground on the new golf facility.
Yeah, no, it was great to go down there with Derek and with Casey and see the dirt start to move. Really appreciate Jim Pliska down there at Emerald Valley and the team, and obviously Justin Fisher leading the fundraising effort and that team. And, it's, overdue, but it's going to be a phenomenal place for our men's and women's golf team to have, kind of their space as well as modern-day training facilities.
Yeah. There's always a project.
That's for sure.
Rob Mullens, Oregon Athletic Director. All right, I went rapid fire with you.
That was good.
What'd we miss? Anything?
I think we covered it all. But, again, just thanks to everybody, because all the success that we're talking about is because we sit in an incredible place with amazing support, whether that's Go Do Anything or just filling our venues.
Well, I want you to know that this is a rare moment that I think asked you like 3 follow-up questions, and I actually made it through all of my bullet points today, and we kept you under half an hour.
Boom.
So it's going to be a great week. Like this is in my line of work, this was great.
Let's go for an undefeated week.
Thank you. I like that, especially in the state of Washington.
Yes.
That's big for Oregon basketball. But nothing else?
No, I'm good.
All right. He's the Oregon Athletic Director, Rob Mullens. And when we come back, Melyssa Lombardi is going to trade seats with him because, well, Coach Lombardi is talking about a trip to Puerto Vallarta. And she said that she had to bring a lot of sunscreen.
Oh, good. That's what you want.
Yeah, we're going to have to ask her about that. Coming up, softball weekend recap with the head coach, Melyssa Lombardi, on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
At Shadow Hills Country Club, our all-inclusive event pricing allows us to take care of all of the details while you enjoy your event. Our wedding garden, expansive grounds, ballroom, and meeting rooms can accommodate any size event and come complete with full catering and service staff. From weddings to business and social events, Shadow Hills offers the benefits of a resort atmosphere and the peace of a country setting just minutes from downtown Eugene. For more details, call us today or go to shadowhillsevents.com.
From the weight room to the classroom, on the field and off it, On Point proudly supports University of Oregon athletics because student athletes do so much more than bring us pride on game day. They bring our entire community together in Eugene and all across Oregon. So whether you're watching the game in the stadium, at home, or at your favorite local business, their success makes all of us stronger. On Point Community Credit Union, onpointcu.com. Federally insured by NCUA, Equal Housing Opportunity.
Duck Insider continues after this timeout on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Victor deployed for the first time to Afghanistan in 2003. He sustained a moderate traumatic brain injury. One of the most important elements of caregiving is taking care of yourself.
For many military veteran caregivers, their caregiving journey starts earlier in life and lasts longer. Visit aarp.org/caregiving for a free military veterans guide to navigate your caregiving journey and better care for your loved one and yourself. Brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
When you're high, you feel different. You think different, you talk different, you draw different, you listen to music different, but you probably knew that. Problem is, you also drive different, and not in a good way. That's why driving high is illegal everywhere. So if you're high, just don't drive. Make a plan to get a sober ride. Because if you feel different, you drive different. Brought to you by NHTSA and the Ad Council.
One weekend in the books for Oregon softball as we welcome you back to Duck Insider, presented by On Point Community Credit Union. Melyssa Lombardi is here in the Country Financial Studio. Coach, every Tuesday, thanks for joining us. You're back. Did you get more tan? I mean, did everybody get tanner in Mexico? Tell me the truth.
I think we got burnt.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, that makes me sad.
Not tan, but burnt.
Oh, that makes me sad. Well, as the resident, so Georgie gives me a hard time about this because if it's like 4 o'clock for kickoff at football, I put sunscreen on. You know, like I was raised this way. As you can tell, I am obviously very fair-skinned. And he gives me a hard time about that. So I feel like it would have been a good strategy for a 4 o'clock kickoff in, like, November to put on sunscreen, right?
Yes.
Okay, good. I'm glad that you agree with me. That makes me happy. Weekend review. We talked about it on the show yesterday, Coach. Your thoughts going 3-2 in opening weekend?
Yeah, not bad. I think obviously, you know, if could have done a little bit better, we would all said yes. You know, I would tell you we ran into some tough pitching. Like we saw some tough pitching right out of the gate, which was hard. But big picture is good.
Yeah.
Because we're going to see tough pitching all year, so to be able to see it right out of the gate, that's important for us. And I thought we made some good adjustments with it. It was just a little late. We were just late.
You know, I was curious about that because I think there's a lot of teams around the country that if you lose the first game in an opening weekend, it can deflate you. But you guys did respond. What was the key to that?
For just, I think, understanding the big picture. You know, we obviously wanted to come away with the win, but we didn't. But knowing that it's going to benefit us, and then what do we do next? You know, how do we go into our next game? And the next day, I thought they had really good energy. They were ready to get right back on the field and play.
You know, I think that's really interesting. You talk about, like, understanding the big picture because I'm so used to, for example, basketball coaches this time of year. Everybody asks about the big picture, and coaches are like, no, it's just next game. I can only worry about the next game. But you guys are a little unique in that you play so many games in these early season tournaments in a short period of time. Does that lend itself to I guess, talking about the big picture as a coaching staff with the team a little more?
Yeah, I think so. You know, we definitely are game by game. I mean, we discussed that the last time, but just also knowing that the opportunity to see the pitching that we saw this weekend and what it's going to do for us, you know, future-wise, that's we understand that too. And I think sometimes you got to, you know, maybe something doesn't go your way exactly the way you want it right then and there, but what it's going to do and how it's going to pay off later for you, I think this group gets that.
You defeated 2 NCAA tournament teams, and the competition level we talked about heading into the weekend was really high. Not just the pitching, just overall good teams.
Yeah, and that's what we wanted. I knew that's what we were going to get, so that's what we need. Our schedule's tough, you know, from the start to the end, and we need to see how we can handle tough teams right out of the gate. Yeah. So I loved how we rebounded and came out the next game and got a big win. I thought we played hard. I thought we played united all weekend. We had a couple tough spots that we had to work out of, but we did. You know, 2 games we fell behind and we came back and won, which I think that's a sign. That's a really good sign, is can your team deal with some adversity and stay the course and expect to know that they're going to win the ball game.
That was actually my next question for you is having come from behind wins. I mean, I feel like that shows grit for teams. Coaches love that. Was that the adjustments? What was the key to that?
Yeah, I think just staying the course. You know, I think sometimes early in the game, if you're not getting what you're wanting, it could be easy to just almost say, you know, get frustrated with it. And I thought they did a really good job of just staying the course and knowing that we're going to win the game. You know, I might not know exactly when. I just know that we're going to win. And you could see that with them.
I want to talk lineup in a second, but we always have kind of like it's been a running theme where you talk about defense winning championships. You know, we've heard that a lot, and you really pride yourself on defense. Only 3 errors in the opening weekend, and you know it's hard like for us watching, or at least for me from afar. I have no idea what the playing surface is like. A lot of teams utilizing the surface. Like 3 errors to me, with all that in mind, seems like a success.
It's a big success, and I mean that was a tough field.
Was
you know, it's all right. So I mean, to walk away with only 3 errors, you know, our defense is really, really good.
Yeah. I was curious to get your thoughts on just the play up the middle too, because you know I hear Diamond coaches talk all the time about if you're good defensively up the middle, meaning like catcher, sometimes pitcher, middle infield, center field, you're in good shape. It seems like those positions, having some veterans, it really helps you out.
Yes, for sure. And they've played with each other for so long. They know exactly what the other's going to do. You know, you have those in-between plays where a ball drops because people aren't communicating. And I always laugh at these guys because they, you know, there'll be maybe like a little flare in between the infield and the outfield. And whoever goes, they'll always say, ball, ball, ball. And then they'll yell, get out, like, get out, get out. And it was funny. Val had one this weekend where she's in right field, like there's nobody around. She's like, get out, get out. But I just think they do a really good job of communicating and not allowing things to drop in to be able to make the plays and to make those 50-50 plays.
How do you go about teaching that? Like, because there are some people that have that natural, like, communication bone, for lack of a better phrase. Some don't. I mean, how do you go about teaching that?
We work hard every day in practice in communication. Like, you think of the reps that these guys get in practice, but the communication piece, this group has come a long way with that, and I credit Coach Reagan for what she's done with our defense. But they work really, they're really in tune with each other and understanding that they have to communicate.
You talked about the flare in the outfield. I'd be remiss if I don't ask you about it in the Wisconsin game. Kyla Morris races in and makes a Sports Center diving play. Walk us through it.
You know what? That's not the first time I've seen her do a Superman play like that.
Wow.
At all. So what's cool is our defense. You know, you think of some of these 50-50s and big-time plays. I mean, they expect to make those plays.
And how about Tara McGowan? So throwing out 3 runners, picked off another. Similar question. I mean, just the value of experience and a very skilled player back there.
For sure. You know, I think the most important thing our catchers can do is to be able to receive our pitchers, but then to have a great ability to block and to throw runners out. And, you know, anytime our catchers can get the third base coach to question whether they want to send the runner or not, that's what we want back there.
Talking softball, Oregon head coach Melyssa Lombardi joining us. The offense, led by Alyssa Daniel, hit 500 over the weekend. What'd you see?
Just really loved the way she competes. She likes to hit. Like, she likes to be at the plate. You know, I think whether there's a lot of pressure, there's not a lot of pressure, she doesn't really show it. She just really has a passion for hitting. That's what I feel from her.
Taya Bird hit a home run in a big spot.
Yes.
You talk about one of those comeback wins. It was a good time to get your first home run of the season, wasn't it?
It sure was. And, you know, it's we're going through that game, you know, just not getting exactly what we want. And I just think, you know, Taya and I think of Ariel, they struggled a little this weekend. And I think about Ariel coming up and hitting a hard ground ball up the middle to get on. And then from there, Taya just, again, staying the course, you know, and getting a good pitch to hit. So,
how big was it, too? And we were talking about defense with Paige Sinicki. For her to hit 400 really gives you depth in your lineup.
It does. She's worked really hard this summer on her hitting and doing a couple mechanical adjustments. And you could definitely, she's strong to begin with, but you could just see she's got more pop on her ball. She's very confident in what she's doing. You know, just she's a year older.
Yeah.
That's what I can feel from her.
Well, overall, I guess I asked you about some individuals. Just overall, did you like the way the lineup stacked up and some of the adjustments you made?
I did. I think we've got a lot of depth. I think this is the most depth that we've had since I've been here, which I really, really like. It gives us opportunity to do some different things and understand some matchups with pitchers that we're going to face. I was really impressed with Kedri Lushar. I thought she had a really, really good weekend. She just quietly went about her business. We had her down in the lineup, and then, you know, in the end of the weekend, she started leading off for us.
Hit 400.
Yeah.
Yeah. You hit 400, usually good things happen with you. Melyssa Lombardi joining us. Okay, pitching. I want to start with Morgan Scott. A really strong 6-inning start. Got the win against Ole Miss. That was a nice performance, it seemed like.
Yes. I love how she settled in quick. Really liked her tempo on the mound. She just would throw her pitch, and then she'd be on the mound waiting to get the signal and to go again. So I thought she had a really good tempo, really good sharp break. She worked ahead, let her defense work behind her. She was fun too. I know our athletes really enjoyed playing behind her this weekend.
So Stevie Hansen, not the start that she would have liked, but how about the response?
That's what I care about. You know, I tell these guys all the time, that's what I care about. It's the response. You know, sometimes things aren't going to go your way, but how you handle it, that's what I want to see. And you can see she didn't really get exactly what she wanted in that first game, but then from there, what is it going to be the rest of the way? And I thought her coming in to the North Dakota State in relief was big for her. I thought that was something that was really nice for her to come in and get done.
3 2/3 scoreless innings out of the pen, and then also shut out Oklahoma State for 4 innings. I mean, that's the number 3 team in the country. You know, that had to be a great response. So what I guess, like, what's that like in her shoes? You know, a rough start, but then the bounce back. What makes her able to do that? You know, what's the key to success for her in that regard?
I think what makes Stevie as good as she is that Stevie is just a free spirit. She doesn't allow things to get to her. And she, you know, just does a really good job of staying in the moment. And I think the biggest thing that we can do as a team is that, if, you know, whether we just won a game, whether we just lost a game, we're on to the next. And can you let that go?
Yeah.
And you could see that she let, you know, that first game could have really dictated the rest of the weekend for her, and it didn't. She just let it go and was on to the next. So I really like how she responded, and I thought she threw great against Oklahoma State. I love how she came in relief when we needed her as well.
How about the rest of the staff? What'd you like?
Same thing. You know, we've been talking about, in order for us to be successful, we need to have a staff, and you got to see our staff this weekend. Reggie, love how she came in and got some big outs. We were bases loaded, no outs.
Yeah.
And I think we maybe gave up one, and she got us out of a huge inning.
That's a success.
Yeah, I mean, it could have totally went different for us. So
how big of a deal is the statistic of inherited runners for you with the staff idea in mind?
Yeah. It's I think it's just about passing the ball. You know, with our hitters, we always talk about pass the bat. I think it's the same thing with our pitchers, that if I'm coming, you know, if I have one of our pitchers coming in to relieve another, that they're able to say, I got you. And, you know, the starter's able to give them the ball and say, I know you do. I trust that you got me. I trust that you got this team. And I really could feel that from our pitching staff this weekend. I feel a really strong unity from them. I feel them a team within a team. So I'm excited to see what they're going to do this weekend.
What else did you guys do while you were there? You know, I mean, it's a cool opportunity, right? You talk about student-athlete experience. You get the chance to go play down in Puerto Vallarta. What else happened outside the softball diamond?
Yeah, you know, we didn't really do a whole lot.
A lot of games.
We had a lot of games, but it's just cool being in the community. Obviously, where we stayed was really, really nice and inclusive. So it gave them opportunity to relax a little bit, to get see their families in between games.
Cool.
And I think more than anything, just to maybe kind of relax in between.
And I bet a lot of families were like, hey, thanks for the idea for a vacation.
Yes, they all had a great time.
That's good. That's good. Melyssa Lombardi joining us. Okay, so this weekend, Friday to Sunday at San Diego State, you're going to play 2 more NCAA tournament teams from last year at LMU and San Diego State. You just keep scheduling up.
Yeah, and that's what we need to do.
What do you see from the field? I mean, what do you like with this upcoming weekend?
San Diego State is tough. I remember watching them last year in postseason. They do a really good job on all 3 sides of the ball. LMU, I feel like we play them every year, and they're just same thing. They've got really good pitching. They swing the bat well.
When we were talking last week, we had said about the broadcast and on Flow Softball, I know a lot of people were trying their best to tune in. Well, I'm happy to report Ryan Milano's making the trip. So KWVA will have all of the broadcast this weekend. Ryan will see you guys down there. What else should we know, Coach? What did we miss?
I think you got it all.
All right. That's what I like to hear. Melyssa Lombardi, Oregon softball head coach. Coach, thanks for being here.
Thank you.
Always appreciate it. All right, we're going to get time out. When we come back, more to come. It's baseball season on the horizon, and we'll cover a few more things on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Dear winter, Toyota's got 20 vehicles with available all-wheel drive and four-wheel drive, and that's more than any other auto brand. So you bring the action, and we'll bring the traction. Always Toyota. Toyota, let's go places.
Based on manufacturer's websites as of 11/21/22.
From the weight room to the classroom, on the field and off it, On Point proudly supports University of Oregon athletics because student athletes do so much more than bring us pride on game day. They bring our entire community together in Eugene and all across Oregon. So whether you're watching the game in the stadium, at home, or at your favorite local business, their success makes all of us stronger. On Point Community Credit Union, onpointcu.com. Federally insured by NCUA, Equal Housing Opportunity.
Dear winter, Toyota's got 20 vehicles with available all-wheel drive and four-wheel drive, and that's more than any other auto brand. So you bring the action, and we'll bring the traction. Always Toyota. Toyota, let's go places.
Based on manufacturer's websites as of 11/21/22.
Duck Insider, your home for the latest news on Oregon athletics on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
To protect his home and family from disaster, Steve used courage, wisdom, and his camera phone.
That should do it.
Way to go, Steve! By simply taking digital pictures of his family's important documents, Steve can always have them stored safely online, no matter when disaster strikes. Learn other simple ways to protect your home and family before a natural disaster at ready.gov. That's ready.gov. A message from FEMA and the Ad Council.
Chris Jakimick, I served in the United States Air Force and I deployed 3 times. Being a veteran, it's interwoven into your DNA, is really the absence of the connection and the purpose that can really drive a lot of veterans to some negative thoughts. For those who are in a suicidal crisis, the window of time to save somebody's life is very short. Our duty is to protect ourselves and protect our families, and one way you can do that is store your weapons safely. Store all your guns securely. Help stop suicide.
Brought to you by End Family Fire and the Ad Council.
We do have a lot of things to cover. I said that heading to break. It's Duck Insider presented by On Point Community Credit Union. Joy Mack with you in the Country Financial Studio. Pretty amazing stuff from Oregon football as the Ducks have just announced Alik Terry returning to the Oregon staff as the offensive line coach. Oregon football head coach Dan Lanning officially announcing Alik Terry as the Ducks' new offensive line coach today. Former graduate assistant for the Ducks, Terry will return to Eugene after spending 2022 as the assistant defensive line coach for the Minnesota Vikings. Coach Lanning said, quote, "We are thrilled to welcome Alik back to the Oregon family. Alik is very familiar with our program and understands the values and goals that we have here in Eugene. He is passionate with unique experiences that range from the college ranks all the way to the NFL as a coach. He also has experience as a player competing at the Power 5 level on the offensive line. His relationships with our current and past student athletes are unmatched, and his reputation as a teacher precedes him." Dan Lanning continued to say, "We are really excited about what Alik brings to our program and the positive impact he'll have on our student athletes both on and off the field." Coach Lanning talking about Alik Terry. He spent 2019 and 2020 as a graduate assistant at Oregon working with the offensive line. And then he went to Hawaii in 2021 as the offensive line coach before joining the Vikings for the 22 season. Miami, Florida native started his coaching career as a quality control coach at Wake Forest in 2018, following 4 seasons as an offensive lineman for the Demon Deacons. And he said, quote, "I'm really excited to return to the University of Oregon." And here's all you need to know about Alik Terry, all right? When a bunch of your former players, when you were a GA, are saying a bunch of positive things about you, you're doing something right. Calvin Throckmorton said, quote, "This is a great hire by Coach Lanning." Actually, Jake Hansen said that. Calvin Throckmorton said, quote, "I couldn't think of a better fit for the job." Panay Sewell said, quote, "This man's passion and commitment to help others reach their potential is unique and hard to find." Shane Lemieux said the University of Oregon just got a great one. Malasala Amuvelaulu, the real deal. Alex Forsyth said, "The most prepared and detailed coach I've been around." Big praise from some big names along Oregon's offensive line over the last few years for Alik Terry joining the Oregon football staff as their offensive line coach. Welcome back to Coach Terry. Meanwhile, for Oregon women's lacrosse, after leading the Oregon defense in a 17-6 victory over Xavier, graduate defender Logan Gierke claimed the first Pac-12 Defensive Player of the Week award of the season on Tuesday. She led the Ducks in the opener with 4 caused turnovers and 5 ground balls, 4th career game, and at least 3 caused turnovers in her second with 5+ ground balls. An impressive number. Pac-12 Defensive Player of the Week in Logan Gierke. Meanwhile, women's golf, the team will enter the final round today in a tie for 4th place. And you heard Rob Mullens earlier say that when he was coming in, Ducks have made the turn. They're looking pretty good. Women's golf may have another top 3-2-1 finish on their resume by the time things come to a close today. Also some notes on Oregon volleyball. Volleyball renewal deadline. It's the 24th at 5 p.m. February 24th, 10 days from now. Call your Oregon Athletic ticket representative or the box office line at 541-346-4461. The 23 volleyball season is an open transfer year. Any current season ticket holders that are interested in transferring all or some of their season ticket locations to another account holder should be completed by February 24th of this year. And seat selection will be at the end of March. So again, the volleyball renewal deadline for season tickets is coming up on February 24th at 5 p.m. And if you're wondering about new season tickets, any Duck fan that would like to join the Oregon volleyball family, courtside season tickets are $265. Reserved season tickets are $110, and GA season tickets just $54 to see what figures to be maybe a top 16 team again for Oregon volleyball. Maybe a Pac-12 champion Oregon volleyball team in 23. They're loaded. And they're really, really good. When we come back, Jordan Brenner's going to take a seat because we got to talk some Oregon baseball. The Ducks with their opener on Friday. Mark Wasikowski met with the media today. We'll have it for you later on the show this week. And, yeah, we got to talk some baseball. So Jordan's going to join us after this. Keep it here on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
From the weight room to the classroom, on the field and off it, On Point proudly supports University of Oregon athletics because student athletes do so much more than bring us pride on game day. They bring our entire community together in Eugene and all across Oregon. So whether you're watching the game in the stadium, at home, or at your favorite local business, their success makes all of us stronger. On Point Community Credit Union, onpointcu.com. Federally insured by NCUA, Equal Housing Opportunity.
At Shadow Hills Country Club, our all-inclusive event pricing allows us to take care of all of the details while you enjoy your event. Our wedding garden, expansive grounds, ballroom, and meeting rooms can accommodate any size event and come complete with full catering and service staff. From weddings to business and social events, Shadow Hills offers the benefits of a resort atmosphere and the peace of a country setting just minutes from downtown Eugene. For more details, call us today or go to shadowhillsevents.com.
This is Duck Insider. Duck Insider on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Hi, I'm Smokey Bear, and I made an assistant to help you prevent wildfires.
Dude, I've got this. I've been camping since I was 5 years old.
But I am a camping influencer.
You know what? I'll bet you $5. Assistant Smokey, what is the best way to put out a campfire?
To put out a campfire, drown with water, stir, drown again. Then make sure the fire is out cold by feeling with the back of your hand.
Wait, really?
I'll take the $5.
Learn more at SmokeyBear.com.
Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service, your state forester, and the Ad Council.
It's time for today's STEM tip. Okay, you know recycling is important. No one wants plastic in the ocean. Here's a cool way to repurpose a plastic bottle. Build an awesome terrarium. Cut a large plastic bottle in half and fill the base with sand, pebbles, potting soil, and your favorite plant. I chose an African violet. Put the top of the bottle over your base and place it in the sun. Your plant will grow sealed in its own ecosystem. Fun, right? Learn more at She Can STEM. A message from the Ad Council.
Back inside the Country Financial Studio, I'm Joey Mack. It's Duck Insider, presented by On Point Community Credit Union. He is Jordan Brenner. Welcome back!
Let's go. Here we go, Joey.
How are you?
I couldn't be better.
Yeah?
You know how I could be better? It could be Friday at 3 o'clock. I mean,
And
opening
it could be
day.
like 68 and sunny.
Yeah, well, that might be asking for a little bit
No,
too much.
I think we might be okay. I was looking at it. Friday, sunny, high of 51 at first pitch.
Okay,
I'll take
that's
that.
baseball weather if
I'll
I've
take
ever
it.
seen it.
I'm
Yeah.
in.
Hey, man, I'm looking forward to it. This is going to be a fun group, a group that could even be better than last season's group. And I'll say this, there's a hunger in the locker room that's palpable. Even when we got done talking to some players about an hour ago, these guys are ready to get on the field. They're going to be a fun team to watch this season.
Yeah, I'm curious because I've been talking about it a little bit on the show, and Mark Wasikowski, again, he met with the media today. That's what Jordan's alluding to. We'll have it for you later on this week as we approach Oregon baseball's opener against Xavier. Xavier's pitching staff, 3 of the 4 days they've announced a starter, all 3 guys did not pitch for Xavier last year. It's a little more common in baseball where you're, just like in a lot of college sports now, going to have some interchangeability, and the Ducks have taken advantage of that too, some transfers that could be impact players.
Well, we talk about how, as a broadcaster, and you and I go through this all the time, we have to learn the team. It's not just us. I mean, even Mark Wasikowski today talks to the media. He says, we'll see how it translates from practice to a game. It's a totally different thing. So Xavier has a lot of newcomers. Oregon definitely has a lot of newcomers. And we'll see. A game environment's going to be really telling, and hopefully these guys can get out of the gates a little bit faster this year than they did last year.
That's true. Yeah, last year was a bit of a slow start. So like your mock broadcast that you're doing in your head at the scrimmages this weekend, very different than what it's going to be on Friday.
Totally different. Yeah, you get the crowd noise in there. You get the blood going a little bit. I'm looking forward to it, but a little bit of international flavor for this team this year, which will be one of the fun things to follow. New second baseman Enrico Nishida, who's going to slap it all over the yard, bunt a little bit. Sabine Sabalos, I saw him hit a home run in a scrimmage last week, and that ball might still be flying. And I got the impression that he didn't even get it the entire way. So really impressive stuff in the offseason. Let's see how it translates for these newcomers into the games.
You bring up a great point about the international flavor. Mark Wasikowski talked about that. Riku Nishida from Japan, Sabine Ceballos from Puerto Rico, and then 3 players in Turner Spoljaric, Matthew Grabman, 2 pitchers, and then a junior outfielder, Owen Diodati, all from Canada. So the international flavor, I thought it was interesting. Mark Wasikowski, you'll hear this later this week on the show. He said it kind of gives you an interesting perspective in the locker room, different ways to play baseball in different parts of the world.
Yeah, and I think the players have fed off of that. It's certainly the most international club that Oregon's had since Mark Wasikowski's been here, and it has changed the dynamic in the locker room. And even an experienced guy like Tanner Smith, who he's the old man of the group, he's been here forever. A guy like that could have the experience where he's saying, I know what this is all about. I'm not ready to, or I don't need to learn anything. But Riku Nishida hitting in front of him in that top spot and the different way that he approaches the game, even Tanner Smith has taken some lessons in from him. A coach on the field, Riku Nishida, and I'm excited to see how he rubs off on the rest of the lineup. Will be fascinating to see.
I think the Ducks have probably 12, 13, 14, 15 guys that a lot of teams in the country would have as starters offensively. I think we're all wondering about the starting rotation. A lot of youth in the starting rotation and a lot of youth in the pitching staff in general. Well, Jordan Brennan will have the call with me, 2:45 pregame show. The Quack Video Crew's got the live stream with us on the Oregon Sports Network, 2:45 on Friday, and then Jordan's got both games Saturday and on Sunday. Thanks for being here, buddy.
Thank you.
Tip-off Tuesday coming up. See you then.
This is your captain. We are going to be experiencing some slight turbulence. Please fasten your... Oh, hold on. Just got a video of my cat.
Imagine the pilot of an airplane was as confident as you are texting and driving. Seems kind of crazy when you put it like that.
Visit StopTextStopWrecks.com.